All righty, guys. My name is Dr. Charnel Wolverton Sehan, and this has been a long, long time since we've all four of us been together. For a long time, we did a show every week, and then it was like once a month, or I don't know. It was several years that we did this together, and we decided to get the gang back and have a little chatty chat about some of the things going on in the world, in the country, and the universe. And yeah, I'm really excited about even getting our itinerary together to be here when all four of us are in different time zones. That makes it extra special, and trying to get different people that are very, very busy all together on one show at the same time, talking about fun stuff. So my name is Dr. Charnel Wolverton Sehan, and today we have Laura Eisenhower with us. We have the wonderful Carrie Cassidy available here with us today. And then Jen Washington is here with us. I haven't seen her in a long time either. So if you guys want to just chime in and jump in, I guess we'll figure it out. But the theme of this is you truly can handle the truth. And that's what I am saying. That's what I'm agreeing with. That's what I'm believing. And there is a lot of disclosure that's been coming up in these last few, 100-something days or less. And I mean, we've known about a lot of this. We've talked about a lot of this for years. It's interesting that all of a sudden it's becoming mainstream, and it's like, yeah, we've been saying that. So anyway, who wants to go first? Where are we at? How's everybody doing?
Doing well, thank you. It's so nice to see you all. Hello.
Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
Well, I'll jump in. I love the title, and I know we have talked about a lot of the topics that are now mainstream, as you're saying. It's amazing that we're finally at this point. I've thought of you ladies often, and just how we got a preview. You know, we got the coming attractions and some, deeper dives into things. And it was hard for me, I'll speak of just for myself, it was hard to accept the truth initially. I thought I had a palate for the truth, but I learned that I have a palate for certain truth, if I'm going to be truthful. Certain truth. Like, I'll be honest, I want things to turn out really well with President Trump, okay? I really do, okay? I don't want to have any surprises, in other words, you know what I'm saying? And when people challenge that notion, I may not want to explore that right now. You know what I mean? I guess they call them the black pillars, and I have to keep a certain amount of faith and hope here, and know that truth prevails. Ultimately, it may not feel comfortable, it may not be palatable, but ultimately it's for everyone's good. So I have to trust that process, and hope that, enough people are beginning to appreciate truth, because we've not had this level of exposure into our institutions like this, and it's very disruptive right now, but it's needed. And I guess for us, we're here, it's like, wow, we're really seeing things unfold. Like, I'm keeping in touch with the things going on with the Diddy case. We were talking about the Epstein thing when we were all together. That was really trending. Now we have the Diddy thing intersecting, and it all connects to everything, the cabal, everything that we have all been talking about. It all connects. So I'm excited personally. I'm not scared. I'm excited.
Okay, I guess I'll jump in. And I love the title. We can handle the truth. This whole concept of they can't handle the truth. I don't think we can handle any more wars any more psyops, any more false flags, any more deception, any more waves of pandemics, any more false solutions with this problem reaction solution loop that we keep riding. When does anybody ever have the capacity to handle that? It's been really unfair to assume that we can't handle the truth. Maybe some people aren't ready for it, but it's better to have a shock to process about the truth than to continually be manipulated and siphoned and harvested into this dependency bond within an inverted vampiric system that has infected every pillar of society and infiltrated every pillar of society, meaning medical industry, school systems, religion, politics, government, and on and on. So the beauty is we're waking up to the truth of who we truly are. And we need an administration that holds space for people's soul calling to come forward and their authenticity without the indoctrination, without the mandates, without the tyranny, because each and every one of us holds something so important to contribute. And the way that the structure of society has been set up has not really been encouraging of that. You go to school, get a degree, and have expertise in certain fields, but a lot of those fields are enslavement agendas in disguise that people don't realize they've been serving. So there's a lot of swamps to drain and all these different pillars of society for us to get to the core expression of what it can represent, so that we're appreciating the advanced souls and star seeds that come in when they go to school. We're more holistic in our approach to medicine, more accommodating of the person's personal experience so that they feel connected to their body. They're getting closer to themselves in the face of disease, that the government structure is supporting the people, and we're all rising in our, missions. And that being just, what is your soul authenticity calling forth? And without it being squashed, censored, and all that. Where can we move beyond, fake news and all the stuff that we're constantly being thrown? So it's got to start with the person, because if you don't start with yourself, you're not going to be able to navigate. You're not going to be able to see the frequency match to truth. You're going to be locked in distortions and things that are preying upon your unresolved traumas and your hopes and your fears. So I feel the astrological stuff that I study is so significant right now. And, maybe later in the show, I'll get into that, but we absolutely can handle the truth. It's horrible to think that anybody would think otherwise. It's sort of like saying, can you handle the truth of that partner that you're with that's cheating on you, that's betraying you, that's stealing your money, that's abusing your children? You can't handle the truth. Yeah, because it'll break your heart. But wouldn't you prefer that discomfort versus continuing on with the facade? And that's where we're at, I feel.
Thank Carrie.
Okay. Hey. Okay. Well, which one wants to go? So, all right. Well, I'll jump in then. So, yeah. I mean, I agree totally. You can't handle the truth, and so I deal with people all the time that don't even want to hear the truth. And I have to say that I am sort of amazed as I've been listening to family members and people that are starting to wake up. And a lot of times they reject, there's certain truths that are in the truths, like Jen was talking about, where they don't even want to go there. They don't want to even consider it. And so you're at a stop. You really, you can't force, as can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So that's very real right now. And it was exciting and lovely to see Trump really hitting, every nail on the head, so to speak, in his speech, State of the Union, whatever you want to call it. And watching the Democrat side in their sort of staunch unknowingness and resistance to what seems like just things that all humans can get on board with, you know, protecting our country, if you have a country, right? If you consider a country, and what that entails, and the moves he's making, which are actually stupendous in terms of the history that we've dealt with not just one president, but other presidents as well, being under the thumb of an outside controller, okay? That's not talked about. So I'm sort of all about that right now. What I'll say is the SSP, SSG, and I'm not going to translate it. Either you get it, you can go to my Substack. About a year ago, I started the Substack because I couldn't even get on my own website. I was so under attack for like a month. It was crazy. So I just, in frustration, started my own Substack, and now I put a lot of articles over there and some videos, but mostly, you know, my site is working now. But the thing is that you know, there's so much that I've covered in my own work, and maybe you guys feel this way, maybe you're not in the same position, but I feel like, you know, I've been in public now for 20 years. And before that, I did a tremendous amount of research as well, and my own personal growth, you know, and that type of thing. So what I'm saying is that I'm looking at a lot of people that are around me that are rejecting things that I know to be true. And yet I can't say anything that will change their mind. They're like those Democrats sitting there in that room. And I think that's worth noting, because I think that was a mirror of the division in our country. And I know from my own, like I say, family members and so on. So I think we're dealing with understanding that just because you have the truth, just because you can voice the truth, you put it out there on your websites or in, you know, sort of a roundtable like this, we do the best we can. But there are people that will never watch this, and they will never go to my website, and they will never see my priceless, what I consider to be priceless testimonies from whistleblowers. And they will never do that. I think it's very possible. So, you know, I think we're in a dilemma in that regard. And I love the fact that Trump is able to show them through his actions that he's serious, living up to what he says he's going to do. And I think that's a moving target. I know that he's not going to go forward without obstacles. And I see the mainstream press, I see is still getting control of the media. I see them reporting lies, even about events we all watch, you know, and it's just incredible. So I guess I'm just sort of opening up the discussion for the fact that, yes, we're all awakening, and some of us are in very different stages, but we also have a staunch, I don't know, sort of almost anti-truth group that doesn't want to face what some of their decisions lead to, right? And I could name certain things. I'm not sure how far you want to go down that road, so we can continue the discussion and see. But those are my statements, opening statements.
Yeah, I thought it was really, I still just, it's not like I want to understand, but like the craziness about, like, why is it bad that we're finding out where all this waste is going? I mean, like, and them thinking that this is, that Elon is like stealing this, like he doesn't need it. He's doing this for free. He's, you know, helping us. When he went off last night and said all the stuff about Social Security and how all these people that are dead, you know, 200 and 300 years old, are collecting paychecks and stuff. And he went through like ages by ages by ages. I mean, it was a lot of money involved just in Social Security, let alone all the other stuff. And like, that is bizarre to me that isn't celebrated, that we have found that out, even if it's like a mess up by some computer, which I don't think it is, unless there is actual money laundering going on, because then of course that would rain on their parade. So it's like, but I agree with you, Carrie, when they were up there and they're just talking about a kid who wants to be a police officer, and, someone else like getting over cancer or whatever, you can't even clap about that. Like, and then whenever he said the thing about, who wants to have more war, and what's her name is just like, yes, yes. And I'm like, what? Like, why are you clapping about that? Like, he said Pocahontas wants to have longer war, and they showed her like agreeing. Like, what the heck?
I think those are good points. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those are great points. Like, we are at a point, like Carrie said, where some people just will not do it. This is willful at this point. And I've had a hard time with that kind of person that's willfully, you know what I'm saying, ignorant and rejecting the truth, like openly rejecting it, not out of an innocence. This is nefarious at this point. That's where I am, and that's where I have a hard time. I've actually parted with long relationships because of the truth. The truth has been a problem in actual relationships, and it's been traumatic, I'm going to be honest, over the past, since 2020, it's been traumatizing for me to see the rejection of the truth, because I thought these people were different. And it's more so me. I have to adjust because I'm like, we're not on the same like radio station. We used to listen to the same jam, but now I'm listening to a different jam. And even within those groups, when you drill down, okay, you will find within your tribe, there are still resistant people to the truth, especially when you learn new things. If you're flexible, you're nimble, and you're willing to be wrong. Oh, I was wrong about that. Oh, okay, I'll reconsider this. If you're willing to be nimble, others are not, then what's going to happen? Because we're at a point where the truth is just, if it was a woman, she's screaming in the streets, she's loud. You can't ignore her. And some people are making that choice. And I think because I grew up with Christian mindset and worldview, I heard about days like this, but I truly wasn't prepared. That's the problem. I wasn't prepared for this great divorce that's happened. And I personally, I don't miss people who don't like the truth. I don't miss them anymore. It's just sad that they are not coming along. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, I've been given this grace where I don't miss them. I'm not pining for those relationships anymore. It's weird because I've questioned myself. I'm like, what has happened to me? I'm not even like missing these people like I thought, 40-year friendships would do,
Right.
But it's different. I mean, I'm strengthened, but at the same time, it has been traumatizing, and even within my own whatever sub community of Black people, that has been a heartbreak. The Black people that are being used as agents for the cabal. It's really disheartening to watch that. And they're so dedicated in a cult-like way to this group. They won't question the group. And to me, that's sad. I even see, it's within the Blacks, but it's also within women. I'm not popular because I don't go along with feminist ideology. And when you want women to be accountable to the truth of things that we are doing in society, our role in the decay, then women don't want to be accountable. They're like, don't tell me what to do. It's the, my body, my choice crowd. And that's to me, that's like traumatizing, because I'm like, you really don't want to like reconsider any of this in light of information? You don't want to even look at the information? No, it's like, don't question me, I won't be accountable.
But yet
So
accept the mandates.
in blacks, in women, okay?
Yeah, and it's just so funny because it's like, accept the mandates of this, you know, bioweapon thing, but my body, my choice. And I love what you're saying. I mean, it's weird though. The truth, you know, sometimes comes down to who's right, who's wrong. There's facts that back up certain things as being, you know, definitely legit. Like, look at the ingredients, look at the paper trail, look at the origins of this, look at the whistleblowers, look at the people that would know, look at the evidence, look at the victims, look at the people speaking out. Real life stuff, not something on the internet, some conspiracy theory. And it's when you don't take seriously people's experience that are speaking firsthand about what they've gone through, when we lose the ability to do that, and you don't allow people to signal the warnings, which are not about being right or wrong. It's sort of like, or character judging somebody that is working to dismantle the deep state. It's like, why would you want to spend time character judging the person that's running to put out the fire, and running to rescue a home from being burnt into flames? Are you going to sit there and analyze the characteristics of the fireman and stop him from putting out the fire because you're so wrapped up in the personality matrix and what the MSM News and the Mockingbird media has done to certain personality types, where you really feel like you can stand for Johnny Depp and be team Johnny Depp because you think you know them? These are celebrities. You do not know them. So people are so identified with something so external that, you know, even if they don't look at any of it, if all that can be dropped, there's still love that remains. And I found that I have family members and friends that, fortunately, we just don't have those conversations, but we can come together, we can love one another, and they're slowly coming around because they're experiencing it firsthand. They're experiencing the injury. They're experiencing the common sense. They're able to kind of warm up to it on their own terms, but maybe through a trauma imprint, because sometimes that is required for an awakening. You have to go to rock bottom. You have to really see for yourself before you're going to accept it. And, you know, so some are so vicious that it's like, you don't miss those friendships, but some I have found it doesn't matter. You know, if you didn't find that truth, the thing is, you haven't lost love. You haven't lost your respect for me, and vice versa. I haven't lost my respect for you. That's what you thought was the right thing to do at the time. I can see where, you know, being duped or being pulled into it, how that inspired you to make the decisions that you made. And I love you just the same, you know, or if what I'm saying is so out there that you don't want to have that conversation, it's too triggering or it's too dismantling to the reality that you think is real, then I'll, you know, respect that. Can we still come together? And I've been more disappointed with things within the disclosure communities. And I don't like the way I've been treated personally about, you know, some things about Eisenhower when I go out on Twitter with people that are running a lot of Nazi propaganda. And that's where it's been hard for me personally, because I don't have, like, you know, friends I grew up with that I still keep in touch with, or I've been such a nomad that it's just kind of like I'm just where I am now. And it's not about me personally, it's about the information. I don't take it so personally, but it's like, why can't we just all be a part of this greater conversation? Even if we don't all agree, that we can, like, look at it with mutual love and respect to get to the truth, you know, because the truth to me is, can we be authentic? Can we live our truth? Can we speak our minds? Can we, like you said, Jen, look at the different information with the flexibility instead of the rigidness of I'm right, you're wrong. And then I feel like, you know, the heart is preserved. It's not squashed. The divide and conquer tactics did not win, and we override the ultimate weaponry, which is targeting that. So I just wanted to add that.
What you think, Carrie?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you guys are saying. I think we're all experiencing these kinds of things. And I think, again, when I get back to, I was just struck by Congress sitting in there. And I know there were some people that didn't even go, of course, but the ones that were there, how staunch they were in their sort of condemnation of Trump and what he was saying, when a lot of the things he was saying was about America. Like, we all live in America. So, do you not want to have good things? And then, of course, it was difficult because you've got very hot topics like drilling, for example. And, I guess people on the Green Deal, all that kind of thing, they've got a certain understanding of that. They don't know probably about the fact that oil is renewable, that it's never ending. There's a never ending renewable supply of oil beneath the earth. So they may not know those scientific facts, or they may question them, I suppose. And that's true. Now, there's other things like the border situation. I don't think you can argue with some of these things, okay? Some of these things are just black and white numbers, okay? That, basically X number of illegal aliens came in. They were, they had records already of doing sort of dastardly acts or whatever. And then there was examples, of course, shown to the audience right in the, there, of course, that were heartbreaking, because these things wouldn't have happened if someone was more vigilant about our border. And this is an ongoing trajectory. So, of course, they're going to come across our border. They want to live in this country, but they're going to resent a lot of us because of whatever they think we've got and they don't have, or whatever their reasoning. And a lot of them will be programmed by the cabals, the drug cartels and all that. I mean, this is the first time a president is basically speaking out against cartels. It's been like a sort of hidden secret in our world for ages, that we've been, invaded by cartels, and that cartels are trying to run our border, actually, and that there are actually gun battles there, actually, I think more often than we're ever told. And so I think looking at things and wanting, I love to research, so it's hard for me to understand people that don't want to look at anything. Okay. Now, when I was a kid, I didn't do a lot of political stuff. I wasn't interested in all that. I had my own focuses. But if something is around you the way it is now, like so front and center, right, in our reality, where these things are, yes, debatable to a degree, but there are some things that are absolutely unequivocally true. And they're not good things that have happened to us in the United States, okay? And they're also like his tariffs and the fact that he wants to rebalance. What is wrong with that? I mean, when did we start having to support the entire world? That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, balance is what it's all about, as far as I'm concerned. Now, there's ultimately going to be all kinds of debates going on and this and that, but I think it's an exciting time because of that, because we do have controversy, and we do have people, like everyone is saying, that actually don't want to look at the truth, don't want to even analyze like intelligently, right? They just want to have their point of view, and they go on in life that way. And it's very difficult. I mean, we're going to have I don't know, he's calling it a golden age, but we're going to have a reshuffling, okay? Because I live in California. I have a horrible governor who, for all intents and purposes, is a Nazi, and they stole the election. So when we tried to get him replaced, so we couldn't even succeed at that because they were too busy stealing it. So, this is the kind of thing, where I love this state. I love, the environment. I grew up here. I've been here my whole life. I'm third generation or fourth generation Californian, so I don't want to leave here, but I'm not going to stay if this state continues along the road it's going, right? And these are hard decisions we all have to make, obviously. And I think, So you can say, oh, yes, I want change. Oh, yes, I want this, I want that. But when it impacts you directly, that's when the push comes to shove. And I always remember I was in touch with a military guy he was Army. And we got in touch, and I guess we were in touch before the COVID. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that word. So the thing that happened, and he actually resigned from the military rather than do the thing, right? So I was just like amazed by that, because I just thought, wow, this is a person who put their principles on the line.
Yes.
And they took a hit. That was their career. That was their, what they do with their life. I mean, that's very, very heartbreaking, really. And I know that Trump is going to give these guys entree back and give it with pay and so on and so forth. So there's things that are really beautiful and wonderful that are going to come out of all this. But there's also the heartbreak of, again, people that don't want to face the truth, didn't stand up for what one might think of as good, and that's also become a relative term. When did good have to be relative? I mean, I think we're all human, and we have this sort of sixth sense, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I watch a lot of Chinese, Korean, and Asian, I guess you say, television shows, and on Netflix, for example. And so Netflix is not just shit. I'm sorry. It has some wonderful, and I really mean that, wonderful shows that are showing the humanity of these people. And when you can't travel over there, this is an opportunity for you to see a society and how it operates and how similar humans are everywhere. We have the same emotions. We have the same reactions. We love our families. We love our, friends and colleagues and our work. We love our work. And we want to be honorable. I mean, we have some very basic things in life that we all share in every culture. And I think if we can start really focusing on that and realizing how precious humans are. I mean, I picked someone up at the airport recently, and when you go to the airport, you see this jumble of humanity that's just unbelievable, right? And it's so, I don't know, it gets to my heart, because I think I watch these people and the joy on their faces when they see a loved one they haven't seen for months or years or whatever it happens to be, right? And realizing that it doesn't matter what color their skin is, just as it doesn't matter who's excellent and who's not at a job, what color their skin is, what sex they are, it's these qualities that we share for excellence, for really truth and justice, things that anybody understands on a deep level. And yet, in some cases, there's a total denial going on about some of these ideas that we always had as humans. So I just come back to that, and that gives me inspiration, keeps me going on my work, keeps me going through my days, makes it all worthwhile when I'm talking to somebody who doesn't even want to face. I mean, I know you don't want certain words, but let's say that's just the trafficking situation. Okay, I won't say anything specific. And to me, that's absolutely unequivocally documented and real, and we know it's going to come out even more so. I think that Trump is dedicated to that. Thank God. I have talked to people, even in my family, that just say, no, that's not true.
Wow.
They don't even they think it's not true.
Wow.
I mean, and there's nothing, I mean, I'm so amazed and my jaw drops, because I know so much, documentation about it and so on and so forth. And so I think I've spoken enough here, but you can reply to what I'm saying here, but that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm trying to remember what I even posted the other day, but it is really, really sad. that some of the comments underneath there, I think it was talking about the transparency of Elon, like literally saying all the things, because there's a whole website dedicated to where he's literally saying, this is what I found, this is what I found, this is what I found, this is where I found it. I mean, transparency level of this whole administration, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I haven't been around enough, or maybe I wasn't involved enough to know about this level of transparency, and maybe it's been there the whole time. But to really know what, you know, for them to find things and just put it out there, or to even, like they were talking about going to Fort Knox and live streaming it. I mean, golly, how transparent can that be? That's literally like, hey, let's do that. And I mean, I'm curious, and I doubt there's going to be anything there, to be honest, but that's going to be interesting. If there isn't anything there, that's going to cause some major uproar for sure. But whenever it is that I posted, I said something like, do you think it's okay, or do you agree with Elon, you know, posting what he's finding as he's finding it, or should we all just be in the dark? And several people put that they don't agree. Several people said this country can't handle the truth, like honestly several. And then I realized, like, that movie that came out and that saying in general was literally like seeded into the atmosphere as a psyop of, now it's like a culturally cute thing to say, but it's like a standing wave, you know, of a frequency, where people just, you know, enough people say that over and over, and that could actually be some of the results that we're seeing. But like, even going back with the Zelensky stuff, I mean, so he goes, and it's supposed to be the third time they're supposed to get this mineral deal going. They're not saying all that. That part, I don't think a lot of people knew, that this is like the third time they're coming around the table, that they also sent people to him, and then he was late. He didn't, you know, he was skirting around things. You know, now they want security involved in it, and, you know, all these things that he's like, oh, but let me change all this and let me do it public in front of I mean, I would be aggravated too. But a lot of that wasn't really talked about, and or, you know, on some stations, I'll say, and I'm not a proponent of one station or another. What I am a proponent of is the transparency. Is like, let's let everyone be transparent. Let's just let everyone say what's really happening, and let everybody make the choice. Because right now, I know that you're saying that there's some people who literally just won't, just by seeing my face or someone else's face that they know is associated with the last 3 years of what we've said. And they're like, oh, well, I mean, just block. I'm not even, you know, oh, don't send me that video, because I'm not even going to listen to it, because it's literally not their channel. Like Jen said, they're like, nope, sorry. But if it was on all of the channels, and some of it is seeping through sometimes on all these other channels, because I'll watch other stuff just to see, like, well, what are they saying? What are they saying? And sometimes it's really bizarre, and I'm like, what? And then sometimes actually there are some things that are being said even on those other channels. And then, of course, we have this beautiful opportunity where, because of the things that have happened in the last 3 years, the mainstream media isn't even the mainstream media anymore. Like, what birthed out of the last 3 or 4 years are, everyone has a podcast. You know, like, honestly, all of us have been doing this for decades. But there's, I don't know how many people I know have popped up and done their own podcasts now. And people just can pick up a camera or a phone and say whatever they want to. Maybe no one's listening. Maybe everybody's listening. But we all have the opportunity to not only film the truth, but to talk about the truth in some way or another. And sometimes it's censored still. And even though they said that this was going to change, I'm not seeing a lot of change with that. I'm still being blocked on stuff. I still can't comment after like 3 times of commenting. They were like, no more commenting and things like that. But when they were talking to me last night about like ending the war and us, this whole, you know, supporting Ukraine with billions of dollars forever, I'm with you, Carrie, when it's like, how long are we going to keep giving money to the whole world, not getting that balance? And I mean, if you watch any of the stuff, Zelensky's like literally ripping men and off the street, forcing them in trucks and making them like serve in the army, and all kinds of men. And you're seeing these guys running for their life and being scooped up off the street to fight wars they don't want to fight in. And I don't mean like dodging the draft. I mean, I'm talking about running for their lives because they know they're not going to win, you know, the situation. So what do we do to the people? How do we make this transparent? How do we get through, or can we get through to the people who aren't seeing? And you know, I am seeing some headway, even in family members and other people. And then all of a sudden, like the door shuts, and it's like, okay, you know, I thought I saw the light, and a few things that were being said or posted. And the next thing you know, I'm like, I didn't realize I was blocked. And I'm like, okay, well, that didn't last very long. Or a little bit of a relationship comes back, and then it's like ghosting me for whatever. Maybe it's because of the last 3 videos I put up or whatever. I wish I was where Jen is, where it didn't break my heart anymore, and I wasn't sad about it, and I didn't miss. I don't miss some of it, but you know, I guess it's just sad, like you said. It hurt. I physically feel a sad, like anxiety or an ache that people aren't awake yet, even with all of this. So what do you tell people, like, do people who do what we do to stay without that heart sickness and that sadness? What do you do to keep yourself up in the middle of all this? What do you do to just be you in the middle of all of it?
I know I can only look at the bigger picture. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, what you said, the bigger picture, like for me, the journey has taken me on a path where it's like a strengthening that's happening. It's not a weakening, which would have happened prior to 2020. I would have been weakened, but I'm noticing like I'm being strengthened. It's slowly, you know what I'm saying? It's not perfect or anything. I'm not Superwoman. But it is what's happened with my faith, I'll say, and my worldview, which is Christian. I've started to question even where we are in eschatology. Okay. I had been brought up with the expectation that we're going into tribulation. Everybody get happy. We're about to get our heads cut off. Oh, sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Sorry. We're about to get unalived by the Antichrist, you know? And it's like, what are we supposed to be excited about this? This is horrifying. You know, all my life I've been gearing up for the tribulation. Isn't that horrifying? And the Antichrist, and who is he going to be? Pin the tail on what? Obama? Who else? Reagan? They think Trump is, of course. Elon, I think, yeah, a lot of people think his babysitter said he might be the Antichrist. I mean, I'm so exhausted from it all, okay? And I realized that I was programmed wrongly, okay? And that's been part of the heartbreak, is the church hurt that happens. It hasn't changed my relationship with God. It's an institution that's been corrupted, okay? And what I'm trying to say without saying too much, because I know people will leap on this kind of stuff, but I've been down the mud flood road, okay? I rejected it, and in 2020, I was like, in 2020, everything was floating all around, and I started seeing the mud flood stuff, I'm like, oh my God, I can't, no, it's too much, you know? So I can slow down my information absorption, you know? It was just too much for me at the time. And then I came around when I was ready. I started to give it a listen, And what it did for my faith is it strengthened me enough to have courage to read some of the apocryphal books, okay? Because in my faith growing up, you were told you can't read those apocryphal books. No, that's bad. Don't read the book of Enoch. So I did. It gave me the strength and the curiosity to read the book of Enoch. Then everything changed with my cosmology, okay? So that's what I'm saying. I can take a look at different things that challenge me, and I'll give it a look and I'll really research it. So my cosmology was turned upside down when I went into this study of the mud floods and read the book of Enoch, because the cosmology that NASA gives me is not in my Bible, which I see as truth. And I know a lot of people don't, but I do, okay? So my cosmology changed. But what it did for me is it strengthened my faith, because I realized, okay, I just needed to adjust my timeline and realize that this futurist thinking of this Antichrist, I believe all of that already happened. Okay, so you have this sort of thought going out right now. They call themselves the short season of Satan, okay? They believe that 1776, Satan was released, hence the chains being broken from the Statue of Liberty, hence why the Corporation of America, all of that, we've been down these roads. It all makes sense to me, is what I'm saying. But it gives me a lot of hope, because the next stages of eschatology are really good. We're talking utopia. And that's where I can merge with some of the people that are new age and think of all the good things that are coming, because my biblical worldview tells me that I have a utopia in store. Okay, that's the next step. It's going to be the judgment of the evil ones. So I don't need to be terrified about some tribulation. It's Diddy, it's Jay-Z and all of them that need to be worried about a tribulation. Okay, not me. So that got changed. So what it's done for me, it's made me even more hopeful for a future. And everything has helped, just even what Trump is doing as a human being. And I'm so glad someone said that. Was it you, Laura? He's not perfect. We're not talking about perfect people. If you're going to have a surgeon work on your brain or your heart, you don't care what he did last Friday. Do you want to get a whole social, whatever on him? No. Is he a good surgeon? Is he good at that skill, that particular skill? But I don't care what he does in his personal life at that moment. I mean, I would care, but for that role, you know what I'm saying? For the role of a president, I think Donald Trump is perfect right now. We need somebody who's badass from New York, who could talk to a punk like Zelensky like he did. We need that kind of stuff. We need somebody who's going to say, no, this is imbalanced. We need balance. We need fairness. We're not trying, I don't care about the state building and taking over of things. I mean, even the study of the mud flood, you realize that cartology, all of that, the maps, everything has been a lie. So yeah, maybe Greenland, maybe all these things, it was all part of this landmass, okay? We don't know what the carved out lands used to be. Everything, for me, everything's on the table. I'm cool, real cool with it. So, hey, Santa Claus isn't real, everybody, sorry.
That's fun. That was good.
The first lie told to everybody is, in other words.
Yeah.
So I think people would like to see your face, Jen. It's gone completely dark over, at least from what I'm seeing.
Are you
Okay,
outside?
you know what? Bear with me a moment, okay? I'll be right back, but I'm still here, okay? I'm
Okay.
gonna go get a source of lighting.
Okay.
Okay.
I know we're about to close, so I guess say our final words about your question.
Yeah, real quick. What do you do?
Well, looking at the bigger picture, I mean, I know what I know, and it's not a belief. It's my body frequency. It's in my soul, and whether people accept it or not and want to listen or not, it really doesn't matter. I used to be very attached to it, not overly attached, but it was important to me. And I've gone through in the last couple of years a lot of letting go, and a lot of just a really, really deep process. And it's been really hard. It's the hardest last couple of years. Losing all my channels, losing so much, still raising my kids and trying to navigate the world, and then just seeing certain narratives being steered that are getting a lot of attention. And it's like, okay. And a lot of smear campaigns that are just so enormous, lots of targeting. And it's like, well, I kind of knew coming in that this would be the case, and it's going to expire. And whether, I'm here in the physical or not, we're infinite beings, and I know who my guardian teams are. I know what my soul is all about, and I have to stay strong within myself no matter what anybody has to say. I know my heart too, and I don't operate maybe in a similar way that some do, and I'm inspired by others that have figured things out that I'm still trying to do myself, as far as handling the enormity of all that we're up against in this human experience. But it's the friends, it's the connections, it's what remains when everything else falls away is where, for me, the truth lies. The people that have your back, the people that are real friends, the people that see who you really, really are. Quantity isn't important, quality is important, and I'm grateful for what remains from all that has seemed to have fallen in my world. And I trust that things will regenerate in its own time when it's meant to, without needing to go out of my way to make it happen if I'm not feeling it, like giving myself the rest and recuperation I need. And, also understanding it really runs in the family to take on enormity and responsibility for bigger picture stuff, the human race, and how it's really harmed us in the way that we process things when there's false narratives and a lot of lies that has been cast upon us when it's farthest from the truth. And, so I just allow myself to grieve and move through it. And, but yeah, I don't have that, like, I'm completely neutral, but I'm less affected, and I have more like humor towards the trolls and just like the insanity of it all. And again, like I said, the quality over quantity. So it's amazing to be with you women, and I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. What about you, Carrie? And then we'll close.
Oh, well, I think that my mission has sort of changed and morphed more as we go through all this. And I have actually been very shocked by certain things. And that's because I guess I was shocked by the way I've been treated by certain people that I thought were friends. Or colleagues, or friendly colleagues, whatever you want to call it. So that's been going on. There's been a lot of game playing behind the scenes, and that's been really shocking because I tend to be kind of a straight shooter. You might not like what I have to say, but I'm probably going to say it, honestly. And so there's that. I think that we're entering a very fascinating time. I know it's, I actually am so glad that we're through certain years that we just had recently. Okay. I'm like, that's like, now I can actually deal. Okay. Some of that stuff is just do not try to go, put me through that shit again, because you're not gonna like what you see. So, I am also in awe of some of my colleagues, and the women here included, of the way they stuck with it, the way they still are on the beat. We're still here after all these years, and we stuck it out. We stood by our truth, and we continue to do so. And other people that do that and that inspire me in the same way. And I think it's exciting what humanity is going through. And so, I hope that as I try to reveal whatever truths I find, that people will be receptive. And I'm amazed, I will say, that my audience has stuck with me by and large, which is something to say in this day and age, I guess. But so I don't have a negative view of the future. I do have some things that I think are stumbling blocks that we're going to have to face. I'm having a lot of dreams of the future come true. So that gives me added faith in my own, you might say, psychic intuition, ability to see the future and to prepare myself even, for it, and maybe loved ones if that's necessary, type of thing. So I think I'm just really excited by things that are being uncovered. And I think we need to give credit to some very brave people that have joined Trump in this, movement forward. And that thrills me to death that those people are there. I admire all of them. And I'm very excited with what that holds, the potential that holds for our future. So that's my statement. That's about all I have to say.
I love that. I love all of you guys so much, and I've missed you, and I've watched you all from afar, and I know we've kind of hit or miss when we see each other, and yeah, we'll have to have another one of these again soon. And I'm going to put everybody's bios and links here. Any final words? You want to do a quick, where we can find you? I'm at drcharnel.com. I'm on all the social medias. You guys can find me, and I have my show every week. I know all you guys have shows every week and do things on your own. Where can we find you?
For me, I am just Jennifer Easton Washington across the socials. I don't do as much on YouTube as I want to, but I want to get back to doing some live streams. So you can find me on Instagram under Jennifer Easton Washington, and Facebook and YouTube.
Awesome.
I'm cosmicgaia.org, and my social media links are on that page, my homepage, my podcast, my new YouTube, and my book, and information about the readings that I do.
Awesome.
I'm at projectcamelotportal.com, my website. On Substack, I think it's Carrie Cassidy or it's Project Camelot, either way. I am on, across the top of my website are all my social media, but Facebook, I do tons on Telegram every day. I'm on there either, commenting or posting other people's articles or my videos or whatever. So that's a very active place for me now. And, my website, as I say, Facebook, the usual suspects, right? Truth Social. So anytime I do anything, I put it out on all the different things. So that's what I'll do with this. I'll post it everywhere. And that seems to work for me. Yeah, so I'm speaking in Florida, and so are you, Laura, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to be in Florida too.
You are?
This is the summit. This isn't the new expo. This is this week and weekend.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so on the 8th and 9th. Anyway, that's in Cape Canaveral, Florida. There's an ad for it on my website right now. I put it on there. I put it on Telegram and Facebook, I think. And anyway, just saying, so I'll be around if you happen to be in the vicinity, and it'll be great to see you, Laura, on the weekend. And anyone else who shows up. So yeah.
Yeah, I got excited for a minute. I thought I was going to see you. I know you're going to be this weekend. Aren't you doing something in LA too, Cal? Because I was going to be at that. Or is it Vegas? You're not speaking at the thing with David Seward, or what's his name? Anyway, I thought there was something going on in LA that you were doing, because I was going to do it with you.
Oh, well, in April, but this is.
Oh yeah. The first week in April. That's right.
Yeah. I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay. And then Laura and I are going to be the 20th, the 19th, 20th, that weekend. We're going to be in Florida in the Tampa Deerfield area. And then we're going to be in New York the last weekend of March. So if anyone wants to come hang out to any of these places, I'm sure this is all on everybody's social media and whatever. You guys can find us. And we'd love to see anybody in person. So thank you guys again. Love you guys so much. And I hope that any of you who are watching, we are sending our love to you in the midst of your transition and your turning from a caterpillar to a butterfly as the world all morphs into these new transparencies and these new ways to do things. And we send our love and our strength to you and your families wherever you are. And we know that you can handle the truth. We know that you got this, and we support you standing in your love and in your authenticity and your strength. And we just, even though we're not here, all four of us together every week like we did for years, we are with you in spirit, and we are cheering you on, and we love seeing you and seeing the comments, and we see you and we love you and we're with you. And I just want to encourage you guys, whoever you are and wherever you are, just keep on being you, keep on loving well, and don't take things so personally, and drink lots of water and get some rest. All right, I love you guys. We'll talk soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.